Like any male in his early 20s, I joined a rock band for one reason. Any guesses? Girls, chicks, you weirdos. It was to make great music. So the year was 1999. I had just finished school, and my buddy from college came up and said, "Do you want to join a band?" And I said, "Yeah, for sure." He goes, "Okay, good. The only thing that we have open is drums." And I go, "I don't play drums. In fact, I don't play anything at all." But I thought, how hard could it be? What I learned is basically drumming is like if you're playing basketball and you're going up with your right hand, you go off of your left foot. If you start going off of your right foot with your right hand, things get a little weird. And that's kind of what drumming is. When you try it at first, there's a lot of stumbling. But after a short period of time, you develop something called four-way independence, and all your limbs start doing things independently. So I'm really good at tapping my head and rubbing my stomach simultaneously. You notice what I didn't say anything about at all is this. Can anybody read this? Okay, I can't. I've written literally dozens of songs, performed hundreds of times, but had nothing to do with the ability to read music. So it wasn't about talent for us. This is our band. It's our singer, our guitarist, our bass player, and me. Now, I was deemed the most business-like dude, probably because of attire like this, so I ended up doing all of our booking and our management. So as a manager of a band, you're tasked with stuff like this, like finding your practice space, finding that place where you're going to load in all of your gear and write those awesome songs that you know that you have in you, you just haven't done yet. So what I'm going to ask you to consider is when you have that space, that thing with which you have an association, go and create your art. Go to your space and create exactly what it is that you have inside that you haven't put out there in the world yet, because we know so many bands who didn't do that. But we did, because we were naive. We didn't know if we were good, but we put out our first album in February of 2000, and we released it. And we didn't know if it was going to take. We didn't know if people were going to like it. But you know what? They did. So the first lesson I want you to take away is you have no right to determine how talented you are. Allow the marketplace to determine that. Don't talk yourself out of success. When you have a degree of success, you need a proper band manager. Because you start to have really hard conversations about contracts and the kinds of Gatorade that you want in your green room. So we hired a band manager. His name was James T. Potat. Now, Jimmy was an overqualified band manager by any extent. So he had his law degree, he had played in a whole series of bands in Britain, and he was unequivocally, without a doubt, completely made up by me. So if you ever, lesson number 2, if you ever really need to have hard conversations, make somebody up and blame him. It works really, really well. When I was a kid growing up in Milwaukee, we dreamed of playing Summerfest because that was the big stage, the world's largest music festival. And I felt like when we started our band, if we could do that, that would be incredible validation. But we started going after it the wrong way. We tried to book our own shows. So instead of going to the High Noon Saloon and saying, hey, can we put on a show here, we tried to play our own shows. And they look great from a sound and light standpoint, but you notice a lot of space here between people. And then I started looking at band posters. And I saw in the bottom left corner, there's this little icon, and it had somebody's name on it. And I looked at that name and I said, who is that person? Because these bands are really huge and they have opening acts playing with them. And I called this guy and I said, what do you do? He goes, I'm a band promoter. I said, can I ask your advice? How can we be those bands that open for those bigger bands than us? He goes, I'll show you. And he did. And we followed his advice. So you fast forward to February of 2002. We took a shot from stage, actually a lot like this one, about 5 feet tall, of the crowd that we were playing in front of, 1,100 people. We actually had to splice 2 pictures together to get the breadth of the crowd. And we were off and running. Then, when James T. Potat, our fearless manager, contacted Summerfest, and he said, look at all these great shows that we've played, at all these great venues, and we've been vetted by people that aren't you, that you can feel good about booking. Summerfest said, of course you can play here. So my lesson to take away from this third point is you don't need to create your own scene. make your art, go where a need already exists, and make yourself valuable. Thank you.